Hi friends, Chris here, and we are going to run through a yoga shorts for the hips. So whenever I ask for feedback or I ask for anything to address when I teach classes, I always get someone who says hips. So this is going to be just a really brief stretch for the hips. We'll focus on a couple different parts and stretch in a couple of different ways, and hopefully this will kind of release the hips and lowers back for you. So we'll begin in an easy seated pose. And I just want us to begin with some Sufi grind, just to put a little bit of movement into the body. As we circle, we inhale on the circle forward. We exhale on the circle back. Just feeling the body as we begin. And you can do this practice in the morning. You can do this in the evening, during the day. This is going to be one of those that will be a quick 15-minute stretch and reset for those hips. So you can do it at any time. And then we'll go the opposite direction. Nice and easy here. You can also do all of this in a chair, seated in a chair. Say you're at work. Good, let's come back up to center. Let's take our legs out in front of us. And if you're seated on a chair, just stay seated, feet flat on the ground. And we'll cross the right ankle on top of the left knee to begin with. If this is too intense, we can always put our foot inside the thigh. If you're seated, you're just going to do the same thing. To begin with, I want to take the same side hand. So my right hand comes to the sole of my right foot. Sitting nice and tall, press the hand and foot into each other. That activates the hip, and we'll twist to the left. Keep the pressure on the foot and the hand together. Let that knee stay open. It's easy to kind of curl it in like that. We want a long spine and an open hip here. Beautiful. Gently come back to center. I like to take one hand on my knee, one hand on the sole of my foot, sit nice and tall and hinge forward. So sometimes when I hinge forward, I tend to pull it up. And so sometimes I put my forearm on that knee to help keep it heavy. I'm not pressing, I'm just kind of letting the weight of my arm stay here. If you are on the floor and you're feeling tension in this long knee, you can always take a blanket and slide it underneath to just keep a little bit of a bend in there. This can be a lot of torque on that joint. So as we're here, we just want to keep that spine long. Think about hinging at the hips. It's really easy to kind of curl in, and it defeats the purpose. We're not getting anywhere into the hips. We want that long spine and the hinge forward. Good. Inhale, rise back up. Take the sole of the foot to the earth on the outside of the knee. And again, if it's too intense, just take it to the inside. If you're seated, you're just going to simply cross your legs. Sit nice and tall. Make sure we're even on the sit bones. Hug the knee in and we'll twist to the right. So in this position, I think about leaning forward a little bit and lifting my heart, drawing everything towards midline. Gently release. Take both legs long. And then we'll take them into a straddle before we go to the other side. So it doesn't have to be a big straddle at all. Sitting nice and tall. If you're seated, just take your legs wide. Hands come in front. Inhale here. Exhale, fold forward. I like to take a little rock side to side. If you know me, you know I do that pretty much all the time. It just gets into the lower back a little bit. I actually like the way that takes a focus off of my inner thighs and into my back so I can go deeper. Good. Inhale, rise back up. Let's bring the legs back together so we can do the other side. So now we take the left leg, cross it over. Again, support the knee, take the foot inside the thigh, whatever feels better to you. Same side hand. So now my left hand reaches for the sole of my left foot and I press into it. So you can see the activation in my body when I do that. Here's me relaxed. Here's me activated. So a lot of things are happening as I do that. And then I exhale to twist to the right. Check in with this knee, make sure it stays heavy towards the mat. Good, and then gently unwind. Keep the leg where it is for just a moment. Again, one hand on the sole of the foot, one hand on the knee, or the forearm on the knee. I'm going to take my blanket under my knee again. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale, hinge forward. Just breathe into this. Things to think about here: long spine, open knee. You can do this still too with the foot on the inside of the thigh. I should have said that the first time and I didn't, did I? Keep breathing. Good. Inhale, rise back up. Take the foot to the outside of the thigh or inside if that's your preference. Again, if you're in your chair, just cross your legs, sit nice and tall. Exhale as we hug the knee in and twist to the left. Again, lean forward into this. Draw everything towards midline. Shoulders stay out of the ears here. Good. Gently untwist, take the legs long. And again, into a straddle. Sitting nice and tall, feet flex. Exhale, walk ourselves to a fold. You decide how far you go. Here I go with my side to side motion again, right? Make sure the feet are flexed so the toes are up to the sky or pressing into the earth if you're seated in the chair. Good. Inhale, rise back up. Lift the knees, draw them together. So one more stretch, actually just two more. One more to get the outer hip, and then we'll do a counter pose before we finish with a straight-legged forward fold. So we'll take the right leg over and across, and we will stack the knees. So it's kind of hard to see with my pants because they're dark, but we want to stack the knees as much as we can here. My foot is kind of off to the side and my foot is flexed just to protect my ankle. This is the first level. This may be really intense for you. And so you come to a seated position in a chair and you're just going to cross your legs that way. If you want to go a little deeper, we can kick this foot underneath as well. So this is called Gomukhasana legs, cow face pose legs. I don't know why it's a cow face, but there it is. We want to make sure that our hips are even on the ground. If they're not, take a blanket underneath us. Feet can walk out or stay close. Zip everything to midline. Inhale here and exhale, fold forward. So this is an intense pose. Make sure you support your top knee with blankets or blocks. Make sure you support your hips with blankets or blocks. Make sure your feet are flexed. Just fold here. Or think about folding. Let me say that. For me, sitting upright is more intense. Then folding forward, there's a little bit of a release in the fold, and I absolutely love the way that feels. But maybe not for you, and that's okay. Every body is different. Notice what parts of your body are starting to clench and see if we can just let it soften a little bit. Take the breath into those areas. Let that exhale release a little bit of that tension. Good. Inhale, rise back up, lean back, untwist the legs, take them nice and wide, and just rock the knees side to side. If you know me, you know that this is also one of my favorite poses, that inner rotation. We call it the counter pose to life. Stretching of that outer hip. Good, and then we'll take our legs straight again and do the other side. So now that left leg is on top. Again, sitting in a chair, crossing those legs is a perfect option. If you are here, make sure the ankle is flexed and the knee is supported. Maybe we bend the bottom knee, maybe not. And just because we did something on one side does not mean we do it on the other side. Sitting nice and tall, zip everything towards midline, support with props, support, support. Inhale, and as we exhale, we fold forward again. Find the breath. This can be what I call a chitter chatter pose. My brain goes, get out. This is a lot. What are you doing? Just let that happen in the background. Find the breath and let your body soften into this stretch. Just another breath or two. Good. Inhale, rise back up. Straighten those legs or untwist those legs. And one more time, rock them side to side. Yeah. Take the legs straight out in front of you. Sit nice and tall. And I said we would do a pose before that. So let's do this. Soles of the feet together. Knees open wide. This is a counter pose to where we just were. Baddha Konasana, butterfly or cobbler's pose. Support the knees with blankets or blocks, holding onto the ankles, not the toes. All that does is just torque our feet. So we want to hold on to the ankles, sitting tall. Fun little anatomy fact. I always like to play with this. When we are in this position, when you engage your glutes, so clench your butt, squeeze your butt, your knees come down a little bit. So there's that, it's a muscle engagement and it's a muscle counter muscle engagement, the contraction and extension play in our body. So a little fun party fact there for you. Sit tall, option to fold forward. While we're here, we can shake out our head and neck and move around if we'd like, or just find absolute stillness, enjoying the stretch in the hips. Taking advantage of any space as it comes along, folding deeper if we would like. We're just sticking with our breath no matter where we are. Inhale, rise back up. Good. Draw the knees together. And now we will take our legs straight for our final pose, feet flex. Hands on either side. We begin by flowing just to get our body a little accustomed to where we're headed. So we inhale, sit tall. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise tall, feel the vertebrae stack. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise tall. If you're feeling tension or tightness or pinching, now would be a time to grab supports, blanket under the hips, blankets under the knees, anything else. Because as we exhale, the next time we'll stay. So the goal is not to touch the feet. The goal is to feel sensation and to remain in a level of intensity of sensation that we can tolerate. That is not too much. It's not painful, but it is definitely a stretch. Shoulders stay out of the ears. Feet are flexed. I equate this pose to when you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and you have the 2 slices of bread with peanut butter and jelly, and then you push it together and you guys squish it all together. Kind of what we're doing right here. I love it. Good. Inhale, rise back up. Take a moment, notice how you feel. Feel free to do any of these stretches again if they are something that really resonates in your body. And I will see you again. May you have loosey-goosey hips for the rest of the day. Namaste.